The first night, she
It's
finally
nice to see you
slept
smile
without
like
fear.
that.
A stranger's back was pressed against her door, not his. By morning,
Laugh
8
softly.
hours were gone,
It's okay.
and one
You're
quiet
safe
text
with
had
me. I'm right
rewritten
here.
everything she believed about safety.
It's
But the
okay.
man who guarded her
You're
sleep
safe with
is
me. I'm
hiding a
right here.
truth that
I
could
know.
rip that fragile peace
Thank you.
wide open. Dive in, make sure to hit subscribe, tap like, and share this video. The more voices we reach, the louder these stories become. And drop your city in the comments. Let's see where love finds us. The night felt like a test she kept failing. Lauren Hayes lay on her side, thick thighs pressed together under the blanket, one hand gripping the edge like it was the only thing keeping her tethered. Her eyes were wide open, fixed on the dark crack around the apartment door. The digital clock on the dresser glared 2:18 a.m. in harsh red numbers. She hadn't slept more than an hour at a time in months. The air conditioner hummed. Pipes muttered somewhere inside the walls. A car door slammed outside, followed by laughter echoing up from the street. Every sound made her flinch, her soft, curvy body tightening like it was bracing for impact. "You're safe now." Everyone kept saying it. The therapist she could barely afford, her mother on the phone, even her landlady when she handed over the keys. "You're safe here, Corrida. Nobody's getting past this building without being seen." But safety was not a fact for Lauren. It was a feeling. And right now every nerve in her thick, sexy frame screamed the opposite. She sat up, blonde hair tumbling out of the loose clip at the back of her head, and swung her legs over the side of the bed. The cool floor kissed her bare feet. Her tank top clung to her full chest, the curve of her waist framed by soft sleep shorts. On anyone else, the look would be casual and relaxed. On Lauren, it looked like armor that didn't quite fit. The hallway light filtered weakly under the door. She stared at the 3 locks, the metal security bar wedged against the knob, the cheap door alarm stuck at the top. It's not enough. Her heart was pounding so hard it felt like it might break a rib. A memory flickered. Damien's hand slamming into the wall by her head, his smile thin and cold, his voice calm as he whispered, "You can go, but you'll never really get away." That had been almost a year ago. Lauren forced herself to stand. She padded across the small studio, past the tiny kitchenette with its chipped countertop and second-hand kettle, past the couch with the throw blanket she never actually wrapped herself in. She stopped in front of the door and pressed her fingertips to the cool metal of the deadbolt, as if feeling it could tell her whether it would hold. Her breathing sped up. In. Out. Too fast. She pressed her palm flat against the door, thick shoulders tense, and listened. The building was old. Every creak and murmur sounded like footsteps if she let her mind twist them that way. Somewhere down the hall a toilet flushed. A floorboard squeaked overhead. Then, footsteps. These weren't her imagination. Heavy, measured, moving slowly down the hallway toward her unit. Her breath caught. The hairs on her arms stood up. It's just a neighbor. People live here. People walk. The rational voice was small and shaky. The other voice, the one Damien had trained, hissed, "He found you." The footsteps stopped right outside. Lauren's entire body locked. Her hand slid instinctively toward the bat leaning against the wall. The little door alarm suddenly felt like a joke. Her throat went dry. A knock sounded, 3 even, controlled taps. Not loud, not aggressive, but her heart reacted like someone was kicking the door in. Lauren? A deep voice, low and steady, carried through the wood. "It's Malik, from 3C. She didn't move. Couldn't. Her mind replayed the last time someone had said her name on the other side of a door. "Open up, baby." Stop being dramatic. Another pause. She heard a soft exhale, like whoever was out there knew she was pressed against the other side. When he spoke again, the voice was quieter. "Your hallway light is flickering like crazy," he said. "I was coming back from shift and noticed it. Mrs. Flores is asleep, so I figured I'd just swap the bulb. Didn't mean to freak you out." Her pulse was still racing, but a fragile thread of context slipped into the fear. Hallway light. Mrs. Flores. Swap the bulb. She remembered the landlady's cheerful gossip a week ago when he'd moved in. "He works night security downtown. Big as a door, that one. Good man to have on your floor." She swallowed and forced her voice to work. "How do you know my name?" "Mailboxes," he said easily. "And Mrs. Flores talks. A lot." There was a smile in his tone, but he didn't push. "I can just handle it and go back to my place. I'll be done in 2 minutes." Lauren stared at the door, chest heaving. She could ignore him. Let him change the light and leave. But ignoring things hadn't worked out well for her in the past. Her thumb slid over the top lock. Her stomach twisted. "Can you hold up your key?" she blurted, voice shaking. "To the peephole. I just need to see it." There was a brief silence, then a soft huff of what might have been understanding. "Yeah, no problem." Metal clinked. "It's up." Lauren stepped on her toes and peered through the peephole. A large, dark hand held a keyring upright, the plastic tag from 3C dangling. Behind it, she got her first clear look at him. Tall, broad shoulders filling the narrow hallway, deep brown skin, close-cropped hair, neatly shaped beard framing a full mouth. His black hoodie hugged a solid, muscular frame. His eyes, even through the distortion of the peephole, looked like they were used to scanning rooms for trouble. Not Damien. Not anyone she knew. She realized abruptly she was holding her breath and forced air into her lungs. "Okay. Sorry. No need to apologize," he said, dropping the keys. "You don't have to open the door. Just letting you know I'm out here, and there'll be a step stool and some noise for a bit. Didn't want you thinking someone was climbing your wall." The simple thoughtfulness of that, of him thinking about her fear before it even happened, hit her in a strange place. Her eyes stung. "How did you know I'd be scared?" she asked before she could stop herself. He was quiet for a moment. When he answered, the bravado was gone. "You always check the hallway 3 times before you lock up," he said gently. "You jump when someone slams a door downstairs, and you sit on your couch facing this door every night until 3 in the morning." Heat rushed to her face. "You've been watching me?" "Not like that," he said quickly. "I work nights. I see a lot. Patterns, mostly. I'm not judging, I just recognize it." Another pause. "I used to have a sister who slept like that." Lauren's fingers tightened on the lock. "Used to," she swallowed. "Is she okay?" "She is now," Malik said. "We got her out. Took a while before her shoulders stopped living up around her ears." A faint scrape of metal. "I'm going to change this bulb now, all right? I'll keep it quick." He set up in the hallway. Lauren watched his shadow move under the door, the small ladder squeak, the muffled twist of glass. Her pulse stayed high, but it wasn't the same spiraling panic as before. The sounds had a name now, a face, an intention that wasn't about control but about maintenance. "Hey, Lauren," he called softly after a minute. "Yeah? If anyone ever gives you trouble in this building or hangs around your door, text me. I'm up most nights anyway." Something slid under her door with a quiet whisper. "That's my number. No pressure. Just, you don't have to handle everything alone." She stared at the folded piece of paper now lying on her doormat like it was a bomb. The old Lauren, the one who'd believed in happy couples, photos and second chances, would have opened the door, smiled, thanked him. This Lauren hesitated like every kindness was a trap. "What if you're the one who gives me trouble?" she asked, and immediately wished she hadn't. It sounded accusing, brittle. Malik's chuckle was low and surprised. "Fair question," he said. "Then you text Mrs. Flores and she bans me for life. She likes you more than me anyway." Against her will, a small, reluctant smile tugged at Lauren's lips. The hallway light flicked on, bright and steady. No more sickly flicker. "I'm done," he said. "I'm heading in. If you want, I can walk a lap around the floor and send you a message when it's all clear. Might make it easier to try for sleep." It was such a simple offer, not a demand to talk, not fishing for details, just a concrete, practical action. An extra layer between her and the night. Her throat tightened. "You'd do that?" "I already walk the floors in parking garages and lobbies for a living," he replied. "This one just comes with better neighbors." She let out a sound that was almost a laugh, but came out wet around the edges. "Okay," she whispered. "If it's not a bother." "It's not," he said. "Give me 5 minutes." She heard his footsteps retreat, then return, slow and deliberate. The text came a few moments later. "Floor's quiet. Door's locked. You're good." Malik 3C, Lauren sat back on the edge of her bed, the blue light of her phone washing over her full, freckled face. Her heart still thumped, but something in her chest had shifted. Just a little, like a window cracked in a stale room. The door was still locked. The bar was still in place. The world outside was still chaotic and unfair. But for the first time in a long time, as she slid under the covers and turned off the lamp, she wasn't the only one watching the hallway. The text from Malik sat on Lauren's screen like a little anchor. "Floor's quiet. Door's locked. You're good." Malik 3C. She read it again in the soft morning light, thumb hovering over the keyboard. She'd fallen asleep sometime after 3 a.m., phone still in her hand, thick body curled on her side like she was guarding herself even in dreams. When she woke, her back ached, but the clock said 7:42 a.m., 4 hours. She couldn't remember the last time she'd managed that. Lauren pushed herself upright, blonde hair wild around her face, tank top twisted across her chest. A tiny laugh slipped out, small, stunned. Her heart still beat too fast, but it wasn't the sharp, desperate pounding of panic. It just felt present, like it was allowed to be in her chest instead of in her throat all the time. She typed before she could overthink it. Thank you for the light and the walk and the text. I actually slept. She hovered over send, then added, Lauren 3B, in case you forgot, lol. She cringed at the lol, hit send anyway, and tossed the phone onto the bed like it might explode. It buzzed almost immediately. Didn't forget. Glad you got some rest. You around later this afternoon? Mrs. Flores wants help moving a plant the size of a small car. She said I could bribe you with empanadas and free gossip. Lauren snorted. Of course Mrs. Flores was orchestrating. The woman could turn a maintenance request into a telenovela arc. She typed slowly. I have work till 4. After that, maybe. If it's downstairs. I don't really go out at night much. Same, he replied. I just go to work. Daytime is safer. 4:30? She hesitated. The idea of leaving her apartment for anything other than groceries or her part-time design job made her stomach twist. But the idea of staying exactly the same, circling the same fear every night, made something else twist too. Okay, 4:30. The hours between stretched longer than they should have. She tried to focus on her freelance project, a logo refresh for a tiny bakery that paid in half cash, half cupcakes. Her thick fingers moved over the tablet, sketching soft pastel lines. But every creak in the hallway jerked her attention back to the door. Around noon, her phone lit up with an unknown number. Her blood ran cold. The ringtone barely had time to crescendo before she declined it, hand shaking. It rang again. Same number. Her throat closed. Her mind supplied Damien's voice, low and patient. You can change your number, but I'll always find you. She blocked the call with trembling fingers, then put her phone face down on the counter. Her breath came in short, sharp bursts. Her skin prickled. The urge to drag the couch in front of the door surged up in her like a wave. Instead, she picked up the bat and planted it next to her. Old habits. The phone buzzed again, this time with a text. Sorry to bother you earlier, Miss Hayes. This is Dr. Shah's office. We've updated our caller ID, forgot to tell you. Just confirming your appointment for Friday. Lauren sagged onto the couch, hand over her face. A hysterical laugh bubbled in her chest, half relief, half exhaustion. Of course it was the therapist's office. She typed a quick apology back, then sat there, breathing hard, feeling ridiculous and raw. 3 months ago, she would have swallowed it, pretended it was fine. Now her thumb hovered over Malik's name. Don't be dramatic, she heard Damien's sneer in her memory. Nobody wants to hear you're crazy. She texted anyway, thought Damien somehow changed his number to call me. It was my therapist. Still feel like I'm shaking. Sorry if that's weird to say. The dots appeared, disappeared, then reappeared. Not weird. Makes sense. Your system's used to danger and doesn't trust good news yet. That's not crazy. That's training. She stared at the words. Training. Like this wasn't a personal failing, but something her body had learned to do to keep her alive. He followed up. You got any grounding tricks? My sister used to count blue things in whatever room she was in. Lauren looked around. The faded denim throw pillow, the little cobalt vase with a single fake daisy, the blue stripe on the cereal box. 1, she whispered. 2, 3. Her shoulders dropped a fraction. She texted back. I traced the edges of things, like the door frame, or my phone. Makes my brain focus on corners instead of memories. Nice, he replied. Corners are honest. They're either there or they're not. If it helps, right now the hallway corner is clear. Just past your door on the way to grab mail. No threats, just junk flyers. She swallowed. You do that a lot? Walk past my door? When I get home from work, yeah. And when I leave. Habit. I check stairwells, exits, doors, even off duty. It's the job. But it's also, I like knowing the people near me are okay. The simplicity of that undid her a little. No grand declarations. Just a man with wide shoulders and a quiet routine. Her eyes burned. Thank you, she typed. and didn't try to make it less. By 4:30, Lauren had changed outfits 3 times, which was ridiculous for a trip down one flight of stairs. She finally settled on high-waisted jeans that hugged her thick hips and a soft white t-shirt with rolled sleeves. Casual, too casual. Her reflection in the mirror showed a thick, curvy woman with a heart-shaped face, hazel eyes still ringed with faint shadows, and blonde hair pulled into a half-up knot. She looked like someone still learning not to flinch at her own body. A knock sounded, 2 gentle taps. "It's me," Malik called, "and a very demanding plant." Lauren cracked the door, chain still on, and peeked out. He stood there in a dark t-shirt and grey joggers, broad chest stretching the cotton, tattoos peeking from under one sleeve. He held a massive potted plant in his arms, a wild jungle of green leaves that nearly covered his face. Mrs. Flores hovered behind him, short and round with her silver bun and an expression like she was watching a favourite show. "See?" the landlady chirped. "I told you he was strong and polite and single. You two, Mrs. Flores," Malik groaned without heat. "You promised you'd only say that in your head." "I lied," she said cheerfully. "Lauren, mi amor, you look beautiful. Come, come, we put this monster by the lobby window before it eats my curtains." Lauren's cheeks heated. "Hi," she said lamely to Malik. His eyes flicked over her, quick but warm. "Hey," he said, a smile curving his mouth. "You good to come down? No pressure. I can handle the plant solo if you'd rather stay." She hesitated, fingers gripping the edge of the door. Her heart picked up that familiar anxious staccato. Stairs, lobby, street sounds, people. But his other hand was empty, open at his side. Not reaching, not pushing, just offering. "I'll come," she heard herself say. I might walk behind you, though." "Totally fine," he said. "I'm a great human shield. Ask Mrs. Flores." "He is," the older woman agreed, already toddling toward the stairs. "No one has dared leave trash in the hallway since he moved in. Even the rats are intimidated." They took the stairs slowly. Malik went first with the plant, Mrs. Flores behind him, complaining theatrically about her knees, and Lauren last, one hand on the rail, her mind cataloguing every sound. The street noise outside filtered in through the lobby door. Car horns, muffled music, voices. Her chest tightened, but with each step she focused on the feel of the banister under her palm, the coolness of the stairwell air, the deep rumble of Malik's voice as he made some joke about the plant needing rent. By the time they reached the lobby, her breathing had steadied a little. They positioned the plant by the big front window. Sunlight streamed in, catching the dust motes and the gentle curves of Lauren's body as she helped adjust the pot. Malik's hands brushed against hers for half a second, calloused and warm, and she jolted like she'd touched a live wire. "Sorry," he said quickly, pulling back. His palms opened where she could see them. "Should have warned you." "It's okay," she said, though her heart was pounding again. The difference this time was that it wasn't only fear. Something else threaded through it, confusing and alive. Mrs. Flores watched them with far too much interest. "I will go heat the empanadas," she announced. "You two guard the plant." When she disappeared into the back, an odd quiet fell between them. Lauren shifted her weight. "So, sister?" she asked softly. "You said you used to have one who slept like me." Malik leaned his shoulder against the wall, looking out at the street rather than at her. "Still have her," he said. "Just, she's different now. Took a while after she left her ex. The first year she slept with shoes on, said she didn't want to be slow if she had to run." Lauren's throat tightened. "I used to sleep in my clothes," she admitted. "Keys in my bra. I thought if he showed up I'd have a head start." He turned then, eyes steady and soft. "And now?" "Now I sleep with my phone," she said, trying to make it a joke and failing. "And a bat. Progress, I guess." "Progress is progress," he said. "Doesn't matter how weird it looks from the outside." She studied him, the way he took up space without making her feel crowded. "How did you do it?" she asked. "Help your sister, I mean, without smothering her." He smiled faintly. "A lot of bad attempts first," he said. "Tried to fix everything. She hated that. Eventually I just started asking, do you want help, a distraction, or just someone in the building who knows what's going on?" Lauren blinked. "That's weirdly specific." "Works, though," he nodded toward her. "Right now, which one would be best?" The question landed in her chest like a feather and a stone at the same time. No one had ever asked her that so plainly. She thought about the unknown call earlier, the way her body had gone from 0 to terror in a breath, about the way his text had steadied her, about the 4 hours of sleep. "Someone in the building who knows what's going on," she said finally. Her voice wobbled, "and maybe, occasionally, a distraction." He nodded once. "Done," he said. "This is me, officially knowing, and I make excellent distractions. I have terrible dad jokes and worse playlists." She huffed out a laugh, unexpected and real. "I don't want to be a burden." His gaze sharpened, gentle but firm. "You're not," he said. "You're a neighbor who deserves to feel safe in her own home. That's not a burden, that's baseline." Baseline. Like safety was the starting point, not a prize she had to earn by being perfect. Mrs. Flores reappeared with a plate of empanadas and a knowing smile, pulling them into easy chatter. They ate in the lobby, the afternoon light soft around them, the plant standing guard by the window. Later, back in her apartment, Lauren locked her door, slid the bar into place, and leaned her forehead against the cool wood. Her heart still raced, but there was something different under it now, a faint, stubborn thread of possibility. Her phone buzzed on the counter. "Made it back upstairs. Plant is thriving. If anything feels off tonight, text or just knock. I'm right here. Malik 3C. Lauren looked at the message for a long time, then typed back before fear could steal the words. "Okay, I'm trying." She hesitated, then added, "Thank you for being someone on my floor who knows." 2 weeks later, Lauren realized she was counting nights instead of surviving them. Not all of them were good. Some were sharp and jagged, full of false alarms and phantom footsteps, but threaded between them were nights where she's 3, sometimes 4 hours at a stretch. On those mornings, she woke up with pillow lines on her cheek and the faintest ache in her muscles that felt like proof she'd actually rested. The door was still locked. The bar was still in place. The bat still leaned against the wall, but she didn't sit staring at the deadbolt until sunrise every night anymore. Tonight, though, felt like one of the hard ones. Rain whispered against the windows. Somewhere outside, a siren wailed, distant but rising. The sound tunneled straight into old memories, red lights flashing against a hallway wall, Damien's hand on her arm, the humiliating blur of officers asking if she'd maybe exaggerated. Lauren turned the TV volume up a notch, curled deeper into the couch. Her thick, curvy body was a tense question mark wrapped in a soft blanket, knees up, tank top and shorts hugging the soft lines of her hips. She tried to focus on the nature documentary playing, some calm narration about whales and migration. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table. Heading out for shift. "I'll do a hallway check when I get back around 1. You okay tonight?" She chewed her bottom lip, thumbs hovering. "Kinda floaty," she typed. "Sirens plus rain equals brain doing the greatest hits. But I'm hanging in." She hesitated, then added, "Don't let me keep you from sleeping when you get home." He replied almost instantly, "I sleep in installments. Perks of the job. Text me if it spikes. Blue things. Corners. And remember, this building is boring. I like it that way." She smiled, small but real. "Okay, be safe always." He sent back, "You too." Time blurred. She did her grounding tricks, counted blue things, traced the edges of her phone, the doorframe, the coffee table. Her breathing dipped and rose, sometimes steady, sometimes jagged. Around 12:30, her body began to sag with that heavy bone-deep fatigue that doesn't care if you're scared, it just drags at your limbs. Maybe tonight, she thought, daring to imagine it. Maybe. The first crash shook the whole ceiling. It sounded like a body being thrown against a wall. Then came shouting, muffled, male, slurred. A door slammed somewhere above her. Heavy footsteps hammered the stairs. Lauren froze. The documentary forgot to exist. The room shrank to the door and the booming, stumbling steps descending from the 4th floor, then the 3rd. A man's voice swore, loud and ugly, too close to words she knew too well. "I said, let me in, you crazy." Someone hammered on a door down the hall. Her heart slammed into her throat so hard she thought she'd choke. Her legs wouldn't move. Her mind supplied Damien's face without permission, twisted with rage, hand balled into a fist. She didn't realize she'd whispered no out loud until the next slam hit. This one rattled her peephole. Her hands flew for the bat. Her fingers closed around the handle so tight her knuckles burned. She dragged herself off the couch, every nerve screaming, and stumbled to the door. Through the wood she could hear the voice, closer now, breathy and slurred. "Don't you walk away from me. Open the dam." Lauren's chest constricted. Old terror snapped over new reality like a trap. Her vision tunneled, her ears roared. The phone. You have your phone. Her hand fumbled, shaking so badly she almost dropped it. She didn't think, just opened Malik's thread and typed with her thumb, locked white around the bat. Someone drunk, yelling, slamming doors. On my floor. I can't tell if... She stopped. 3 dots pulsed almost immediately. I hear it, his reply came. Stay inside. Don't open. I'm coming up. The footsteps outside her door pounded again. This time they were farther away, crashing toward 3D. Someone shouted back, a hoarse, annoyed, "Get out of here, man!" More swearing. Another thud. Lauren pressed her forehead to the cool door, trying to breathe. In, out, corners, she told herself. Edges, now. She traced the edges of the doorframe with her free hand up, over, down, across, naming each corner out loud like a spell. 1, 2, 3, 4. The stomp of heavier, controlled steps climbed the stairs. Even through the thickness of the door, she recognized the rhythm. Malik. The shouting snapped off like someone hit mute. When the man yelled again, it was smaller, defensive. Malik's voice was low and calm, but there was an undercurrent that made Lauren's muscles loosen a fraction. She couldn't catch all the words, just the shape of them. Not okay. And other people trying to sleep. And you're going downstairs now, or I'm calling someone in a much worse mood than me. A door down the hall opened and slammed. More arguing. Mrs. Flores's sharp Spanish cut through, furious like a tiny general. The drunk man's voice cracked, turned whiny, then faded down the stairs, Malik's deeper tone following like a boundary on legs. Lauren's knees gave out before the quiet returned. She slid down until she sat on the rug, back against the door, bat still clutched in her hand. Her heart thudded against her ribs like it was trying to escape. Tears leaked out, hot and unstoppable. Not Damien, not him. Just some drunk neighbor or their guest. A real problem, but not the past reaching through the walls. She stared at the apartment around her, blurred by tears. She was here, in her own space. Thick, soft frame wrapped in a blanket that smelled like lavender detergent, not cigarette smoke and cologne. Her feet flat on her rug, not cold tile. Her phone buzzed. Guy from 4A's friend, hammered. Tried the wrong floor. I walked him out. Mrs. F is calling his life choices into question. You okay? Her fingers trembled as she typed. I'm on the floor, by the door. My chest is doing drum solos, but I didn't open it. A beat. You did good. Can I come sit on the other side for a bit? No pressure. You don't have to unlock anything. I'll just be in the hallway until your heart believes what your head knows. Her throat closed. Tears slid freely now. Hot tracks down her cheeks. She stared at his message, then at the 3 locks gleaming above her. She didn't want to be alone with the echo of that shouting. She also didn't want anyone inside her space right now. The idea of him in the hallway, solid and quiet, like a second door. Her thumbs shook. Yes, please. Just tell me when you're there. On my way. She heard him a minute later, those same measured steps, but this time the sound steadied her instead of spiking her fear. They stopped just outside her door. Something soft brushed the floor, the faint creak of someone sitting down back to the wall. I'm here, he said, voice low. On your left side, my shoulders against the doorframe. Lauren let out a ragged breath that felt like it came from 5 years ago. They sat there, separated by an inch of wood and metal and the entire story of her life up to this point. Can I talk? He asked quietly. Or do you just want presence? She sniffed, wiped her face with the heel of her hand. Talking's okay, she croaked. No yelling, though. He laughed softly. Promise, I used up my yelling quota on your neighbor's friend. Her chest eased another inch. When my sister first moved in with me, he said, she used to sleep on the floor, right up against the door, shoes on, bag packed. For months I'd wake up and find her like that, even if she'd fallen asleep in bed. Lauren's grip on the bat loosened. What changed? She whispered. It wasn't one big moment, he said. It was a bunch of tiny, boring ones. Nights where nobody came. Mornings where the sun showed up like it always does. Times she freaked out and we got through it, and the worst thing that happened was a bad dream and some ugly crying. She let out a wet, strangled sound that might have been a laugh. Then one night, Malik continued, I woke up and she was still in bed, curled up like a shrimp, drooling on my pillow. The door was just a door again. That was the night I knew her body had finally gotten the memo. Lauren stared at the opposite wall, vision blurred. "The memo," she echoed. "That it's over." Yeah, his voice stayed steady, grounded. Her brain had known for a while, but bodies are stubborn. They need proof, repetition, someone at the door willing to say, "I got you." Nothing's coming through tonight. Something cracked open in her chest, deep and aching. "Nobody ever said that to me," she whispered. "It was always my job to watch. Even when I was a kid, even when I was with him, if I missed something, if I didn't catch the mood shift." Her voice broke. "It was my fault." "Hey," Malik said softly, his palm pressed lightly, briefly against the other side of the door, right where her shoulder touched it. "That was never your job." Her tears came harder, quiet and shaking. "It feels like it is." "I know," he said. "But tonight, the drunk guy, you did exactly what you needed to. You stayed inside. You asked for backup. You didn't open the door to prove anything or calm anyone down. That's not failure, Lauren. That's you rewriting the job description." She swallowed around a lump. "What's the new description?" "My job is to keep myself safe and let other people carry some of the watch," he said without missing a beat. "For tonight, anyway." She let her head tip back against the wood, thick shoulders sagging. Her heart still raced, but the spikes were softening into a tired thud. "How long are you staying out there?" she asked, small. "As long as you need," he said. "You want me to text you when I head back to my place? Or I can just tell you now I'll be here until you fall asleep and then sneak away like a very large, very quiet ninja." A faint smile tugged at her mouth. "You're too big to be a ninja." "Rude but fair," he murmured. "Still, I can be an honorable sentry." She hesitated, then lay down slowly on her side, still on the rug, blanket pulled over her. The bat stayed within reach. The door was at her back, solid and cool. Malik was a broad, warm presence on the other side. "Okay," she whispered. "Honorable sentry, just stay until I stop hearing him." "Got you," he said. "If you want, I can talk about something boring. That usually puts people to sleep." "Like what?" she asked, eyes already heavy. "Security protocols," he said gravely. "Or my little sister's obsession with reality dating shows. Or how Mrs. Flores is growing a black market tomato empire in the laundry room." Lauren's thick, soft body relaxed by degrees as he spun quiet, ridiculous stories through the door. His voice was a low, steady current. At some point, she stopped clenching the bat. Her fingers went slack. Her breaths lengthened. The last thing she heard before sleep slid in was his voice, barely above a whisper. "You're safe, Lauren. No one's getting through this door tonight." Light woke her, not fear. Warm, pale morning poured across her face. Her cheek was pressed to the rug, hair a wild halo around her. Her back ached faintly, but not from being curled in terror, just from sleeping on the floor. She blinked, disoriented. The clock on her TV stand blinked 8:06 a.m. 8. She sat up too fast and the room spun. The door loomed in front of her, locked and still. The bar in place. The bat on its side. Her phone lay beside her, screen dark. She grabbed it with shaking fingers. One message waited. "Left my post at 3:12. Hallway was quiet. You started snoring a little, which I'm taking as a personal compliment. If you're reading this in the morning, that means you made it through the night. Proud of you." Emma vision blurred instantly. 8 hours. Not perfect, not all deep, but there were no jagged gaps of sheer panic in her memory. No jolting awake with her heart in her throat. The last thing she remembered was his voice and the soft drag of his shoulder against the door. She pressed her palm flat against the wood, right where his had been hours before. For the first time, it didn't feel like a barrier she had to guard. It felt like a boundary she could lean on. Her fingers flew over the keyboard. I slept. Like, for real. I woke up because of the sun, not a nightmate. My body needed the memo. She hesitated, then added, heart pounding in a new, strange way, "Thank you for being the one at the door until it believed me." The reply came a minute later. "All I did was sit and tell the truth. You're the one who finally let yourself close your eyes. That's your win. But for the record, I'm always down to be backup when your nervous system forgets it's over." Lauren wiped her cheeks, laughing and crying all at once. She stood slowly, thick legs a little unsteady, and walked to the window. The street below was just waking up. People with coffee cups, kids with backpacks, a dog dragging its sleepy human along. Ordinary life. Behind her, the door stood solid, watched over by locks and bars and the memory of a man who'd chosen to sit on the other side and wait out the fear with her. For the first time, as she looked at her reflection in the glass, a thick, curvy woman with tired, hazel eyes and a soft, stunned smile, she didn't see someone who had failed at keeping herself safe. She saw someone who had survived long enough to find help. She picked up her phone one more time. Coffee later? Daytime. Public place. I'll even let you lecture me about reality dating shows. His answer was immediate. It's a date. Well, a non-date. A safety celebration with caffeine. And if you get tired after, you can take a nap. You've earned a world where sleep isn't the enemy anymore. Lauren pressed her forehead to the cool glass, eyes closing briefly. She still had work to do. Therapy appointments, paperwork, legal lines to draw, old habits to unlearn. There would be more hard nights, more echoes of footsteps that weren't really there. But last night, for the first time in longer than she could remember, she had slept without fear. And on the other side of the door, now and on whatever nights came next, was someone whose steady voice and open hands had helped her body finally believe what her mind had been whispering for months. It's over. You're safe. You can rest.